Good morning, BB Coaching. I'm really excited about this lesson because I had just talked to our Academy members and a lot of their questions have to do with, booking clients and why am I not booking and what can I do differently? And what I quickly told them is there are 3 things that you need to audit in your business to figure out which part of this, business is lacking, which might be what can be causing you to not book. And one of those aspects is branding. And whether your brand is on par to your pricing. Okay. And so that's why I told them about, what we're going through in quarter 3. We're focusing on up-leveling your brand. That is the name. That's what we're focusing on. And so what I'm excited to talk to you guys about today is one of the topics that I mentioned in this month's training in your dashboard. Basically how to audit your brand, the questions to ask yourself. And one of them is, what are my values? And that's been a question that that we don't really talk about a lot, but it's super, super important. And then I had somebody message us and be like, I love this, but I'm not quite sure like what my values are or like what that even means. And so I want to do this training. I want to do this live to basically break down like what are values, what does that even mean, and why do I need them? And that's what we're talking about today. So if you are joining us live, say hello. Tell us what you're doing today or when you started BB Coaching if you're brand new. Brittany, Mix, and I had no idea there was a BB Coaching community. Yes, friend. This is like the best part of BB Coaching is the community part. And you get weekly coachings from me. So Patricia's here. Obviously, Brittany's here. Brittany is coming to our fall mastermind, and I'm really, really excited. She's coming to our fall retreat, which y'all, we have 2 spots left. So if you want to come to the fall retreat, y'all let me know. Okay, so here we go. I'm going to jump right into it because I am doing another live training in BBE at noon. So here we go. No further ado. Fold and close with Lisa. That's my girl. You my people. Okay. So number 1 is what are values? And let's just start with that. Okay. Values are things in your life, and I'm trying to make this as simple as possible. Things in your life that you're willing to fight for. That's probably the simplest way I can like sum up like what are values? Like what are life values? There are things in your life that you're worth fighting for. Everybody has different values and a different value system. The way that you were brought up, your own experience with life in general, your beliefs, and things like that. So my values are very simple. Things that I'm willing to fight for is my faith, my beliefs. That is all over my brand. That is all over. Like, I don't think and if I have failed to do that, then I'm failing at presenting my brand accurately. But my faith, my beliefs, I'm a Christian, I love Jesus. That's all over the place. And that is something I'm willing to fight for, right? Another value is family. I'm willing to fight for my family. I'm willing to fight for time with my family. Freedom is another value, something that like I value and it's a value of mine. And so authenticity. I have a really hard time with people trying to make me somebody I'm not or putting me in a box. And so I'm willing to fight for my authenticity of who I am and how I show up in the world. Respect is another thing that like I value, I'm willing to fight for. If somebody disrespects y'all, I will fight for you. That's why we have a 0 jerk policy in BBE. If somebody's a jerk, we boot them out, because at the end of the day, they're disrespectful to my people. And so anyways, your values are it could be things, it could be ideas that you're willing to fight for, right? Hundreds of years ago, and still to this day, we have people who fought for the freedom of our country, right? That was a value that they believed in and they were willing to fight for. So that is, to sum it up, what your values are. And again, they could be completely different from person to person to person. That's why I can't teach you what your values should be. Your values are your values, just like your brand is your brand, right? That's why it's a personal brand, life values, okay? Now, your values are basically the filter of what decisions and choices you make for your life and business. Okay? So here, let's just say here are your values. Let's just simplify 5 values, okay? Think of this as like a filter, like a colander, okay? And every decision, choice, question, inquiry that comes through needs to come through your values first. It shouldn't be, what can I gain from this? How much money? It should be like, does this align with my values? Why am I talking about this? Because your values are going to help create your personal brand. Something that separates me from a lot of photographers and a lot of educators is my willingness to preach the gospel, my desire to incorporate my faith into my work, my faith into everything that I create. That's part of my brand because it's part of my values, okay? So decisions that I make are going to come through my values. For example, and I wrote a few things down here because I didn't want to forget. If you have a certain faith system or belief system and you get an inquiry that doesn't align with your faith or your belief system, you are allowed to say yes or no, because you're like, does this align with my values? And you are allowed to say yes or no because it's your personal brand. Okay? Like I saw this, you guys, and again, I'm getting really like, we're getting really real right now. Y'all are my coaching community. I hope I can be real and authentic with you because that's part of my values. I saw, and this broke my heart, and again, this is my beliefs and values. I saw on Facebook someone shot an abortion party. And again, I am a Christian. I believe every life is precious. Those are my beliefs. Those are my values, my beliefs. And so if someone inquired with me to say, Brittany, I love your work. I would love for you to come shoot my abortion party. I would unfortunately have to say no and refer someone else because it doesn't align with my values. I'm like tearing up thinking about this. But that is why this is so important and why I don't want you to skim over this coaching lesson. Knowing your values, writing them down, and making them the filter of your decisions and your choices in your business and your life is going to help you make sure that you feel good and you build a brand and a business that you love, right? If I was just a normal photographer who didn't do this, I would be like, yeah, money, let's go. And then after, I would feel like crap. That's not a business that I would love. That's not a business that I would enjoy, okay? All right, we're going to move on. Now that the weighty portion is done, we can move on. So family and lifestyle, the way that I live my life, my family is one of my values. So if somebody wants me to do something that goes against me supporting my family, me maybe like working during a kid's birthday party or something like that, I'm allowed to say, does this inquiry align with my values, my family, my life? I'm allowed to say yes or no. Authenticity is one of my values. Asking if somebody asks to do something outside of who I am, like, I don't know, I'm like thinking of all kind of stuff right now. Like if somebody asks me to do a headshot session of myself wearing like promiscuous clothing, that's not authentic to who I am. It also kind of goes along with my value. Like, I'm not going to do it. I'm allowed to say yes or no because it doesn't align with my values. So that's a question that you can ask yourself. If somebody inquires with you, if somebody asks you to do something, if someone, even if it's not business related, this can go to your life too. If your mother-in-law asks something of you that doesn't align with your values, you are allowed to say no in order to live a life you love. Okay, Kaylee says, how could you professionally say no to a situation like that? All you have to say is, unfortunately, I'm unavailable to shoot your session. You don't have to give reasons why. You are never required to give a reason why. You are just unavailable. You don't have to say you're booked. You don't have to lie. You can just say, unfortunately, I'm unavailable to shoot your session. Unfortunately, I'm unavailable to shoot your wedding. Unfortunately, but here is a long list of people that would love to love and serve you. And that way, I'm still holding true to my values, which is respect, service, and love. I'm still being authentic and true to me and my values without having to be rude or whatever, but I'm still holding true to my values by saying no to something that doesn't align with my values. Is this making sense? All right. Freedom. Freedom is something, and not like freedom from whatever, but like freedom in general. It's a feeling that I value. It's one of my values. And so if someone, let's just say I blocked off a weekend to be free with my family or whatever, and somebody inquires, I'm allowed to say, no, unfortunately, I'm unavailable because I value freedom. Respect. I value respect. And so this goes with like emailing, session culture, peer culture, like from photographer to photographer. Like if somebody is trying to get me to talk crap about another photographer, I have to remember, does this align with my values? Part of that is love, respect, service, my faith. And so I can choose to filter that conversation through my values. I'm able to choose to say, I just don't really want to talk about this other photographer. Like, I love you, but I have to hold true to my values. And again, the reason why I'm talking about this is because my goal is to help you guys create a business and a life that you love. And if we are constantly going outside of our values in order for our personal gain, we're going to be unhappy and we're not going to know why. We're not going to be quite satisfied or at peace of who we are and why we're doing this. And we're not even going to know why. But the reason why is because we're outside of our values. So here are the questions that you need to ask yourself. And if you want to write these down, I'm not going to hold you back. So if you have your pen and your notebook and you're like, I'm ready to learn something today, I'm ready to like move forward in my life and business today. Number one, write down, and this is something that you should do with your spouse, or if there's anyone in your life that like you respect and love, that maybe has been with you from day one with your business. Maybe that's your parents, maybe that's your spouse, your best friend, your business bestie, whoever. But something that you need to ask yourself is, babe, I'm just saying that because this is how me and Thomas talk. Babe, like we need to sit down and figure out our life values. Because I know that when busy season starts coming up here in the fall, I'm going to have inquiries, I'm going to have choices, I'm going to have decisions that I'm going to have to filter through these values to make sure that I'm continuing to build a life and a business that I love. So sit down, top of the page, put life values. And I want you to jot down things that you are willing to fight for. Those are your values. It's simple. It's like, what am I willing to fight for? Okay, for me, it was, I'm going to fight for my faith and what I believe in. Number 2, I'm going to fight for my family and the lifestyle of my family. You know, like I'm not going to make a decision that would hinder me being home when my kids get home from school or whatever. Number 3, like freedom, the feeling of freedom. Like I'm not going to book every single day a session because I need the feeling of freedom. So these are the values that you need to jot down: respect, service, love. And before you do anything, if you get an inquiry, you say, does this align with my values? Yes, let's go. Does this align with my values? No. And then you can come up with an email template that simply says, hey there, so thank you so much for thinking of me. Unfortunately, I'm unable to shoot your session, but here is 5 photographers and their websites and email addresses that would love to work with you. Thanks so much. I am so excited for your special day. XOXO Brittany. Copy that, y'all. Like copy that and use it. And then when you're done sending that email, you can breathe and you know that you're true to your values and who you are. And you can say true to your brand, right? Okay. All right. So once you have your values listed, then you ask yourself, number 1, does this align with my values? Does this decision go against my values? So it's not just inquiries, it's like decisions. Going to a specific workshop that you don't quite sure if they align with your values. Going to or joining a mastermind that like you're not quite sure if what they're teaching aligns with your values. You can, this is the filter for not only inquiries, but decisions. Number 3, will I have peace about this decision, whether it's yes or no? Will I have, like, you'll know if you'll have peace or not, right? Like you'll know if you make a certain decision after the fact, if you're like, I'm excited, or it's feeling kind of icky, but I need to do it because I need money. That's not the kind of brand that you want. That's not the kind of business you want. It's not the kind of life you want. Number 4, how will this decision affect me tomorrow? So again, if you say yes to an inquiry, how will this decision affect me tomorrow? Will it hinder my brand? Will I be pissy for the following 2 weeks before the session because I don't really want to do it, but I need the money to do it? How will this decision affect me tomorrow? Okay, so those are the 4 questions. I'm going to say them one more time, and then we're going to wrap up this call. Number 1, does this decision align with my values? Number 2, does this decision go against my values? So same question, just twist it a little bit. Number 3, will I have peace about this decision? Whether it's an inquiry, choice, whatever. And then number 4, how will this decision affect me tomorrow? You guys, your personal brand is just that. It's personal. Your personal brand is personal. You are allowed to serve and love and show up exactly who God created you to be. So are your values. Your values are extremely personal. Extremely personal. Which is why I can't teach you what your values are. This is something that you're going to have to sit down and really dig deep into the things that like only you can decide on. What are you willing to fight for? And then the point of this whole topic today, and I'm so excited you guys stuck around because I know this was hard. It's a lot. It's not just like 3 ways to get skin tones. Here's how you book clients. Like, this is like this stuff that like nobody talks about, but it's like probably one of the most important over skin tones and booking like crazy. It's this. These values are going to help you make decisions in your life and your business so that you can create this brand that you're proud of, so that you can create a life that you actually like, and you're not just being tossed by the waves of the sea. You are in control and you are steering your ship in the direction that you want to go. So you guys, here's your homework. List out your personal values. List them out. They could be abstract. They could be tangible. List out the things that you're willing to fight for. This might come, like, some things might come up that you're like, oh wow, like I didn't even like think about this, but like this is what I'm feeling right now. And then when a hard question, decision, inquiry comes into your business, break out the list and then pray about what you're supposed to do. Ask yourself, does this align with my values? Does this decision go against my values? Will I have a peace about this decision? And how will this decision affect me tomorrow? And I hope and pray that with this simple like exercise, with this simple homework, you guys can start implementing this into your life, into your business, and you can start having a business that you really, really like and are proud of. So, I'm going to go over some questions that I might have missed, and we'll go ahead and wrap this up. Sonia said, makes sense. Good. Lisa says, I'm so glad you're talking about this. Me too. Sonia says, how do you know necessarily what kind of session they're inquiring about? What if you find out later after you said yes? So here's something that I've always done, and I still do, even with you guys, is with my retreats. Before I accept anyone into my brand, which is what you're doing when you're taking on clients, you're allowing them inside of your brand. Before I do this, I do a quick Facebook stalking. And I did this with my photography clients. If I noticed that my the client who inquired about a wedding or whatever was like cussing it up, and this is just me personally, okay? I know everybody in here has probably got a potty mouth, but this is just me personally. If I noticed that their Facebook feed was full of like, F this, F that, screw them, blah, 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 like I would unfortunately not be able to shoot their session. Like, because who they were directly impacts my brand and how I feel about shooting. And here's the thing, you guys. Not every session, not every client, not every wedding was meant for you. And that's a hard pill to swallow when you're first starting out, because it's like when you're first starting out, you're so hungry to shoot, you're willing to shoot anything. But trust me when I say, if you decide to shoot anything and everything, you're not going to enjoy your business, which will cause burnout. That's what's going to cause you to be like, what am I even doing? Do I even like doing this? Those people, those clients that aren't aligned with your values were meant for someone else. Bottom line. Okay? Your goal is to repel and attract. Attract and repel. I kind of said that backwards. That felt weird coming out of my mouth. Attract and repel. Your job is to put so much of your personal brand and values out into the world that you attract people like you, that attract people who respect your values, and repel those who don't. Okay? That's basic marketing. Is putting so much out there that you attract those who are meant for you and repel those who are meant for somebody else. Maggie says, I have a hard time saying no, but I'm going to start. Yeah, and here's the cool part. When you start saying no, it's like a muscle. You're like, ooh, that felt good. That felt really nice. Like now I can do, because when you say yes, you're saying no to something else, right? If you're constantly saying yes to all these inquiries, you're saying no to time with your family, no with time with your spouse, no with personal development, no for your mental health, no, so remember, with every yes, you're saying no to something else. But when you're saying no to something, you're saying yes to freedom, yes to peace, yes to happiness. So think of it that way, okay? A little positive spin on it. So you guys, I hope this was helpful. I hope you guys got something out of it. I know this is a subject that's kind of hard to talk about, but I think I wouldn't be true and authentic to me and my brand if I didn't. Y'all know I'm honest with you. I'm real with you. I'm going to share things that I have done that has helped me, and that's the whole point of this coaching community. So I love you guys. I got to hop into BBE. We're going to talk about posing, but I will see you guys next week. And if you haven't yet, go inside of your dashboard, you guys. Go in your dashboard and watch the lesson for August. It's bomb. And make sure you download the workbook that goes with it. I got a workbook for all my little nerds out there that are like me and like to print out workbooks and write in them. So I love you guys. I hope this was helpful, and I will see you next week.